Everybody, welcome back to the I Play 2 podcast. I'm your host, Rob Adler. This week, former Utah Valley University basketball player and its current director of player development, Trey Young, joins the show. Playing high school hoops in Houston, he helped win back-to-back district titles. At Utah Valley, Trey scored a career-high 27 points versus CSU Bakersfield as a junior and led the team in three-point percentage as a senior. After playing 2 seasons professionally overseas, he joined the collegiate coaching ranks first at VCU, and now he's back at his alma mater. His cousin, Vince Young, played quarterback at the University of Texas, where he led the Longhorns to the 2005 National Championship and was a 2-time Pro Bowler with the Tennessee Titans. Trey, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
No problem, man. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just got off of work. We got this portal going. Just trying to get better every day. It's a process, it's a grind, but it's fun.
As a coach, how do you filter through the portal to decide who might be a good fit at Utah Valley?
We rely a lot on relationships, other coaches, high school coaches, AAU coaches, whoever you know. A lot of people reach out to us. We were fortunate enough to have a good year that people want to come to school now. So you were 20-3 to finish the season. People take notice of that and kind of reach out to you. So you got a better pick. If you don't have a great year, it's probably a little bit harder to get guys. But we have a proven track record of winning and developing guys. So a lot of people have heard of us. We're getting a little bit more on the map. Our people are reaching out. And then, of course, we just comb through the portal. Names we know. If we know coaches at other schools, we reach out to them. They reach out to us. People make it seem like it is hard and a tedious process, but I think that's the fun part in it. I could be working a desk job right now. I think watching basketball clips all day, trying to figure out who fits for our team is pretty fun. So I enjoy it, man.
You touched on this a little bit. How important are building and being able to keep those relationships?
It's everything. And I don't think it's just in sports. I think it's in every profession that you have. You don't want to burn bridges. You want to be connected and as well known as possible because you never know what you'll need. My pops taught me that. You got to be nice to everybody. You got to make sure you leave on a good note with everyone. If you're moving jobs, if you're going from place to place, or if you're looking for a kid in the portal, you don't want to have a bad rapport with people that just hear your name. You don't want that bad reputation. So that's the most important thing.
And also, you mentioned that you had a really good year this year. What was it like to actually be able to represent the conference in the NIT?
Oh, that was awesome, man. It's the second time in 3 years. So it's becoming a norm for us now, which is good. But Utah Valley has never been to the NCAA tournament. That's the next step. Being someone that played at Utah Valley, I want to be a part of that for sure. It was awesome this year, though, because when I was a player, we didn't actually win the league in the 2 years that I was there. We didn't make it to the tournament and we didn't win the regular season. So this is actually my first ring as a Utah Valley alum, player, or coach. I'm just happy I got to get one this year. So I told all those dudes, thank you for that, getting me my first ring in the green and white, man. So that was dope.
Well, when you were there, you did go to the CBI and did get a postseason victory.
Yes. I was on the first team to win a postseason game. And that was something I was super proud of too. But it's hard because you don't have nothing to show for it. But we beat Georgia Southern and we beat Rice too. That was at home and that was crazy. Probably had over 85 people in the game. And they all had these bright green shirts with my name and number on it. So it was kind of lit up with green in there that day. I had a good game too. I probably had like 20 points and we won. So it was a really cool experience. All of my teammates and coaches came to my house, ate dinner. We had a big barbecue like the night before. That was one of the craziest weeks of my college career. Being able to go home and introduce my family to the people that I had spent the past 2 years with. Coach Pope was awesome. The school paid for all the food. My people just cooked it. And then we had a cool little barbecue event before we went out and beat Rice the next day. So that was the real cool experience for me.
You mentioned Coach Pope, who's now at Kentucky. They made the tournament this year. What have you learned from him that you've taken into your young coaching career?
It's about work. Man, he is a relentless worker. He is elite at building relationships, like we talked about. He's an energy guy. I think that's super important in this profession, just to be able to be a day in and day out energy guy. It'll take you far. And then your players feed off all that stuff too. He's very demanding in what he wants done. He wants it done a certain way, and it's got to run how he likes it to run. One of these days, if somebody's foolish enough to give me a head coaching job, that's how I want it to run. I want to be the face of it. I want to be high energy, and I want to be able to look back and have relationships with all the guys that I coach. And I think Coach Pope does a great job of that. Everywhere he's been, he's a really good connector with guys. That's how he got a kid from Houston, Texas to move out to Orem, Utah. I'd never heard of Utah in my life. I had never seen what it looked like. He got me out there on a visit, and I was like, okay, like I can do this. Just building that relationship with him and the staff, the way they went about my visit and the relationship that they did build with me in that short amount of time, I felt comfortable moving halfway across the country and going to Utah.
You mentioned his being a good connector. What did you and he connect on that made you say to yourself, I need to look further into Utah Valley?
Man, hard work. Like his approach, relentless calling. He is a caller. He's not texting me. Like I'll be working out or something. I'll have a missed phone call from Coach Pope. Call him back. Coach, thank you for everything. We'll chop it up for 10, 15 minutes. My mom and dad would call me that same day. Yeah, we talked to Coach Pope. He was calling to see how everything was going. Like I said, it's relentless. And that's how he wants his players to function. And that's the best way to get that point across is for you to do it every day. That was the most important thing, just that communication. I think they had a plan in recruiting me. So if Coach Pope didn't call me one day, Coach Burgess, that's at BYU, he was calling me the next day. Figure calling me the next day. Somebody from Utah Valley was calling me every day to try to get me on a visit and to make sure that they knew that I was interested and I was a priority. You want to feel wanted. And that's what they did for me.
Was there any kind of culture shock going from Houston to Orem?
The most different thing that I actually had to adjust to was probably Sundays, how empty the roads were and how a lot of stuff closing at 5 o'clock. So the places that are open on Sundays, I know I can go in there and it's not going to be busy. But it wasn't really a culture shock. I went to private school basically my whole life. And so I know a lot of people bring up race and stuff like that, but I feel like that's something that I enjoy, like meeting new people and learning about new cultures. Just from a young age, I've always gravitated towards being a people person. And I think that's something that I think my dad probably instilled in me too. Like I said, connections are so important and you can't shut yourself off to not connecting with somebody because they're not the same as you. You want to try to meet and learn about as many different people as possible, and especially in this profession. As a coach, you never know what type of player you're going to go get, and you got to talk to that person's parents. And it might be somebody from Newark, New Jersey that you got to relate to, and then you got to relate to the kid from Seattle, Washington. You got to talk to his parents. You got to talk to that high school coach, this high school coach. So just the constant, I guess, change in people that you're dealing with every day in front offices and athletic directors and all this important things. So the more people you connect yourself to and can relate to, the better off you'll be.
Throughout your coaching journey thus far, what's the smallest place you've had to go to?
I traveled to Olean, New York. That is a place that I had no clue existed. When we went to Bonaventure at VCU, I don't want to talk down on Olean, New York, right? Just being a VCU guy in the 2 short years that I was there, that's a big rivalry. And they've had a lot of crazy games in the past 7, 8 years, 2 high-level programs. It's the best mid-major league to me, competition-wise. But flying into Olean, man, that was tough. We took a private, but you got to take the private and you got to drive about 20 minutes to a hotel. There's only one hotel. It was ice on the ground. Being from Houston, that was new. I didn't have my boots on, so I'm out there slipping and sliding in Nikes, about to fall on my butt. And then the gym's cold. It's a different place. The best part about the A10, like it's so many different places that I had never been. I went to school on the West Coast. I'm from the South, but that East Coast region, I got to see those places and how it was out there.
How did you get the spot with VCU? Because that seems kind of an odd place for you to have initially landed.
I can't make this life up that I live. Mike Rhodes coached at Rice. So he was the coach in that game that I had 20 points in. His son, Logan, he used to come to straight Jesuit basketball camps. But I met Mike Rhodes then. I coached Logan in some of these camps. So that was the first time I was introduced to him. I get out of school, I go overseas, COVID happens, I come back, and I start coaching and working back at straight Jesuit. So I was like a substitute, and then I was helping my old high school coach with the basketball team. After a year, I was like, man, I want to start coaching. I want to start getting into college coaching. And VCU had spots open for a GA. My high school coach had a relationship with Mike Rhodes, and he remembered me from that game and was like, oh, man, that's a no-brainer. At VCU, they like guys that play basketball to become GAs, and we'll get on the interview with them. And that's kind of how that snowballed. And I made a connection with Coach Rhodes. We chopped it up on the phone, and we had a great conversation. Him, JD Byers, Brent Scott, they're at Penn State, and JD's at Virginia Tech now. I talked to all those guys trying to fill out the process, and they ended up taking me as a GA. So that was fun.
What was it like for you to go learn about a different part of the country in terms of basketball? Because East Coast basketball, I would say, is very different than basketball, let's say, on the West Coast or even in the South.
It just helped broaden my palate. People talk about drinking wine, and you got to broaden your palate to this wine and that wine. It's the same thing. Like the West Coast is played a certain type of way, a lot more finesse, free flowing, free movement. The South is a mix between athletic and skilled, still a little physical, but probably not as physical as the East Coast to me. That East Coast style of basketball, like elite guards, elite scoring bigs. In like the South, you've got athletic bigs and kind of skilled, fast guards and stuff. But just now, like I love East Coast guards because they bring something to a team. They have a great feel of team aspect and toughness and crafty with the ball. You just see like the difference between the West Coast and the South. Just seeing it every night too. Just how much the East Coast cares about basketball too is different. And everybody knows this. Like VCU is one of the craziest places to see and experience college basketball. And it was almost like a down year in terms of attendance. We didn't sell out every game, but the love they have for basketball out there, I got to see it firsthand. And it gave me a different appreciation for it.
You mentioned a little earlier that you had played basketball at Strake Jesuit, and I'm guessing a lot of people who are listening don't know a ton about Strake Jesuit. Can you kind of tell people a little bit about Strake Jesuit, not just from the athletic side, but from the academic side as well?
It was one of the most challenging experiences in my life. Going from like the 8th grade into that environment, but it prepared me so much for college. Like college was a breeze because I was basically taking these college level courses in the 9th grade and learning how to study. The experience was something I'll never take back. Just from an academic standpoint, it taught me how to interact with different people. It taught me how to be a good student. It taught me getting through adversity because I didn't have the best grades. I had to work a little bit harder to get good grades. I had to work a little bit harder to be able to play basketball and do schoolwork. It kind of taught me that balance at an early age. And then super high level athletic program, basketball, football, baseball, those 3 major sports out there. I mean, I played with a guy that played at Duke, and I played with a dude that played at Syracuse for Boeheim, and I was a junior on the team. Like those were our 3 guards. And Aaron and Andrew Harrison were actually in my class before they ended up transferring to Travis. So that's 4 guys that played at Power 5 level that I got to rub shoulders with every day and compete with. That taught me what it looked like. So it's like, all right, these dudes are definitely going to Power 5. I just need to be better. I got to get better. So seeing that every day was an experience in itself. And then I had to go to school, and I had to stay up till 11 p.m. for a test I had in the morning. That's what college is, right? Like you go on these trips, you're out of town, you got to make sure your schoolwork is done, and you got a game at 7 on ESPNU the next day. It's the ever-ending cycle. So it taught me that at a young age, 9th, 10th grade, just the value of hard work and balancing the two.
When you were at Utah Valley, did you have the option to take online courses? Because a lot of schools until COVID didn't have that as a full-time option.
I was never an online guy. I enjoyed being around people. It was fun for me. I enjoyed going to class. I was never the kid that, we got to drag Trey to class. I just wanted to go see who was in there. I like being on campus. That was something, too, I cherished. And I think it helped me a lot as well because people around campus knew me. They would come to games. It's like, oh, yeah, man, Trey playing. So it was like, okay, cool. If that's what it's going to take, like get y'all to come to games, y'all get to meet me and know me. Perfect. I need as many people at games as possible. Administration, that was super important to me as well. Just building a relationship with them and being in the mix with all these people. It ultimately made me getting this job a thing. Just because people around knew me and they knew I was a good person and they had a relationship with me and they saw how I interacted with students and coaches and everyone. So when I ended up getting the job to come back, it was perfect.
Speaking of being back, what's the Utah Valley campus like? I've never been there. I've been to a lot of college campuses, but never have made it to Orem.
Man, we got to get you out here. It's beautiful. It is scenic. There are mountains everywhere. I'll tell this story too. This was funny. I did come on my visit. After I came on my visit, after the first day, I went to Coach Pope's house. He had a big team dinner. It was during the summer, so the weather was nice. I've never seen mountains before in my life, especially not with snow on them. So I go back to my room. The next day, I got to get up and meet with Coach Pope. I literally opened the blinds like a movie. I'm standing there. It's a crazy mountain range right when you open the window. So I'm sitting here looking at this window and I'm like, okay, like if I'm opening the blinds up to mountains with snow caps on them, I think this is a pretty good life. This is nice. Like, how could anybody be angry? I was like, all right, I'm committing. We get to the meeting and I'm like, yeah, coach, I got to think about it. I already knew I was going there. I call him as soon as I get to the airport. Yeah, coach, man, I'm coming. I'll see y'all in a couple months. So just how scenic it is. Everything's new. Even when I left and just came back, they put up new buildings. This is probably one of the fastest growing schools in the state. It's the largest. We're building a new soccer stadium right now. They just renovated the inside of our gym. Everything's just constantly growing out here. So it's cool to be a part of.
So what was it like when you saw your first snowstorm?
Oh, man, I had to walk in my first snowstorm, actually, because my apartment was right across the street from campus. And so I had this huge red jacket. I got long hair. My hair is like covered in my face. My locks are like frozen. I got snow all over my hair. My hair is hard. I sent the picture to my mom. I was like, I think I need my car out here. So I ended up getting my car the next year. So I'm not walking in the snow anymore, but it was an experience.
So when you go out on the recruiting trail these days, you're recruiting somebody from a warm weather climate like you
Right.
were. What's your selling point to them?
You got to come see it. I think that's the most important thing. That's what I'm always telling people. I was just like you, right? And now I've been here for 5 years. So it's not half bad. I think the most important thing is something different. And life is all about experiences. It's hard to experience a lot of different things if you're only in one place for 20 years of your life. If I would have stayed in Texas, I won't speak on Tarleton or any of these other guys in the league. But if I would have went to somewhere like that, now I didn't get to go to the East Coast. I didn't get to go to the West Coast. And then me being a coach, Texas is all I know. So how can I know if that's the best thing out there? It just expanded my palette, put me in front of a lot of different people, taught me there's a lot more out here. And it's the same thing I would sell to anybody. Just come get a different experience, something that you haven't done before. You might like it. You might end up moving here and this your life now. But I just challenge kids to experience life. Like you only get one life. So do as much as you can and experience as much as you can while you can.
Speaking of experiences and taking a step back here, growing up, were you solely a basketball guy or did you play other sports?
Baseball was my first love, man. Before I played AAU and all that stuff, I probably played baseball until I would say my eighth grade summer growing up. I played football, basketball, baseball. I played everything. My dad's been a middle school coach for 30 years, and those are the three things that he coaches. I learned how to play everything. Baseball was my favorite until people started throwing about 65 from 20 feet. I said, yeah, I don't know if this is for me. If I could be an outfield guy, just be in the field, perfect. When that ball started coming a little bit faster, I ain't have nothing for it. That's when I was like, all right, basketball sounds good. And that heat in Texas, 115, and you out there in long pants and a t-shirt. Yeah, basketball with that AC sound real good right now.
Growing up, who was your baseball guy?
I tried to be Derek Jeter every day. I'm talking about routine ground balls. I'm turning into backhands, trying to sling them at first. I wore two. I played shortstop, all that. I still watch it. I still love baseball. One of my dad's college roommate, his son actually plays for the Braves. Mike Harris, their center fielder. So me and Mike ended up being really cool. So I follow the Braves. I watch anytime I can. So I'm still a baseball fan at heart for sure.
You played for your dad in middle school. What was it like to play for your dad and be able to separate the father-son from the coach-player relationship?
Ooh, man. I can't wait to hear this. It was awesome. It was the best thing for me because I learned how hard I had to work to be good. And he didn't give me anything. And there was still this sense of like, you are good, but you have to show it. And I'm not going to just play you because you're my son. I want to play you because you're good. He would tell me that all the time. And especially when I was younger, because I played, when I was in the sixth grade, I played against eighth grade. There'll be games I didn't play. And like, there'll be games I did. And if I did play and I mess up, take me out. It taught me like how college is, honestly. Like the younger you are, the less of a leash you get. The older you are, you have to earn trust. You have to earn those responsibilities and the things that are important. And it was a great experience. There were a couple times the car ride would be silent. We aren't saying too much, or I'm not riding your car today. I'm riding my mom, man. So it would be those tough days, but it was all tough love. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It taught me so much. And my dad's a good coach. He's been doing it for so long. And I learned a lot of stuff from him. It's funny, when I was coming back from Australia, I would help his middle school team, seeing him, how he interact with kids. You got to love him, but you got to coach him. And just his philosophies. And I try to implement a lot of it into the way I approach coaching today. And I tell anybody this, he's probably one of the best coaches I ever had. And I played Mark Pope. I always say my dad is up there in that tier just of knowledge and the ability to connect and get what he wants out of players. And I learned a lot of that stuff just from him growing up.
Is there a game, regardless of the sport that you played for him, that you remember that always sticks out for you?
Ooh, that's a good question right there. I would say my seventh grade year, we actually played against Justin Jackson, who played at UNC. Me and him were in the same grade, and Justin was incredible. He's probably 6'3" in the seventh grade, could do everything he did at UNC, shoot the ball. He was elite as a seventh grader. And my dad's like, man, we got this kid coming in here, and he gonna kill you. I'm not gonna lie. Justin got off too. He probably had 30. I had about 37, and we won the game. And the motivation of, there are people out here that are good. You are good, but there are a lot of people out here that are good too. And you have to raise your level when you do play against good people. And I did. And that was something that he kind of instilled that in me. One of the best players coming up in Houston at the time. And he was like, man, you can play on this level, but you got to go do it. You can't just think it's going to happen for you. You got to go out and prove it to people. And that was the first time I played against somebody that was really good. And I played really well. And that was that mental challenge with him. And that's something that I always remember.
I know your cousin Vince is a little bit older than you, but has he ever given you any advice, whether it be from the player side or the coaching side, that's helped you get better?
I think the best thing Vince instilled in me is life. Like, life is so short, and he's been through everything. He's been through ups, downs, all of that. You have to enjoy life, like no matter what. Anytime he sees me, anytime I get to see him, it doesn't matter where we are or what's going on. That's something that we make sure we remind each other of. We have to enjoy this life that we are living, because we could be anywhere else. He came up in rough circumstances, and he had to go through a lot to get where he ended up being, and cherishing those ups and downs and knowing that it could have went worse. You're fortunate enough to be in the situation that you are in, And that's not even basketball or coaching, but it helped you in all those aspects. You do get the opportunity to go be a Division I coach. You do get an opportunity to change these people's lives. Don't take it for granted. I think that's the most important thing that we talk about a lot. That's definitely the best advice he ever gave me.
I know you would have been around 10 or so, but did you get a chance to go to the Rose Bowl game and watch Texas and your cousin win a national title?
Yes, I was there. I tell everybody that's the craziest sporting event I've ever been to in my life. I've been to the Final Four. I went to the Pacific Life Bowl game the year before. I went to Texas OU, him and Adrian Peterson. I got to see some high level games, but that was one of the most electric games. But it was incredible to see. My dad got me out of school. Me and him played hooky that weekend. We actually drove. It was me, my dad, Vince's mom, both his grandmothers, and a couple of our other cousins in a white van. We probably had like 12 boxes of chicken from Frenchie's Chicken. If you know, you know. We headed all the way down to LA. Long drive, didn't stop either. The whole ride straight, which is insane to think about. They were just switching drivers, and we actually ended up making it. I was right in the end zone, actually, so he ran towards the end zone we were sitting in. And that was the first time I felt a stadium rock from just noise and like movement. You could feel the Coliseum literally rocking side to side when he ran through the end zone. And I'm like, yo, why am I crying? The emotion in it, he was super excited. And that's something he worked really hard for. And my whole thing was just being 10 years old. And I was like, man, Vince should have won the Heisman. And that was him sticking it to the man for me. Like, not winning the Heisman, you got to win the chip. And that was always the coolest thing to me. He didn't get that Heisman, but he actually ended up winning a national championship. The funniest part of all that was I actually ended up going to the hotel after. So I don't know if anybody's ever been to the hotel of a national championship winning team, but that was the most insane thing that I've ever seen probably in my life. The amount of people that were standing outside, the amount of people in the lobby. I go upstairs and I get to hold the MVP trophy. Just a super crazy experience and something that is so vivid in my memory just because of how different it was from anything I had ever experienced. And I've never experienced anything close to that since. So that's not even something that could be replicated, especially with somebody that you're close with, somebody that you grew up watching. I was growing up myself, but I'm seeing him grow up from Madison to first year of school, not playing, to going to UT and hoping he get in the game, to the next year, if he don't get 300 plus yards, it's an off night. Just seeing the growth of him and all the stuff he had to go through, and then seeing him go to the league and being good in the league year one. I go to the game where the Titans played the Texans his rookie year, game-winning touchdown at the crib. We're at his hotel the night before, and he's like, man, I'm going to go crazy tomorrow. And they didn't draft me. I'm going to go crazy. The Texans didn't draft him, and he took that personally. He ended up winning that game in dramatic fashion, a rushing touchdown, almost similar to the championship game. Win, throw the ball in the crowd, he's going crazy. So just seeing the growth of him as I'm growing up and seeing him be successful, it's like, man, I got to be good at something. I got to be decent at something, man. I got to experience some of this stuff that he's getting to do. And just seeing the hard work he put in from a young age, being around my dad all the time. So that was something I took care of me in my college career and trying to be good too.
Kind of taking a little bit of a right turn here, but after your college career, you went to go play overseas in Australia. Did you have like any opportunities to go play in, then I think it was the D League, now it's the G League, but was that something that you said that I'm just going to go do?
I didn't really have any opportunities to. I didn't have the best college career. I think I had a decent one. I knew I wanted to go play professional. I didn't care if it was in Germany, wherever it was going to be. In my head, just growing up, I was like, okay, being realistic, it's going to be hard for me to make the NBA. I'm not 6'5", I'm not lightning fast, I'm not any of these things, but you can go play basketball somewhere. And in my mind, I knew I wanted to go play professionally. I wanted somebody to pay me for basically all the hard work I contributed to my life from when I was 3 years old to when I was 23. And I didn't care where it was. I was fortunate enough for it to be Australia. I didn't have like this huge culture shock and having to learn a different language and try to maneuver all those things, but I still got to live out my dream. I got to work out with people in the NBL, which is the top league over there. One of our family friends at the time was the head coach of a team in Adelaide. That's kind of how I ended up getting over there. Worked out for a couple teams out there. A team ended up signing me, and I used to go to practice with the NBL team every day. On-court workouts, practice, be like a scout player for them, all before my season started. So that was just another way for me to see how good you have to be, because these guys aren't getting paid hundreds of millions, but they're getting paid some money to play in Australia in that top league. I was playing with Josh Childress, like dudes that had really great college careers, some dudes that played in the NBA. I got to see that up close every day, and it kind of fueled the basketball junkie in me, just to see it from a different perspective. I talked about expanding my palette, and it's like dudes from Australia can play basketball. You have no clue. I played with a guy from Finland, like foreign players and how they play and how they approach the game. You just got to see it from a completely different point of view. And like I said, it broadened my horizon of basketball for those 2 years.
Was the Finnish guy named Hanu Mentala?
No, not him. This guy's name is Jonas Tavanainen. Jonas was actually my roommate, and his best friend is Lauri Markkanen. They played on the Finnish national team together, and Jonas actually lives in Utah right now, and Lauri's in Utah too. I go to a Jazz game. I see Jonas. I hadn't seen him since I left. He's married here now. And I remember we would be in dorms and stuff, and Jonas would be playing Call of Duty, just screaming in Finnish, like screaming, just going crazy. I'm like, yo, you got to chill, man. It's 12 o'clock. He like, man, meet my friend. He at Arizona. I'm on FaceTime with like Lauri Markkanen, like, hey, man, you got to get Jonas off this game, man. Full circle, he come play for the Jazz. Just crazy small world how basketball is.
It's interesting that you mentioned basketball in Australia, because St. Mary's in California kind of has an Australian pipeline. Dellavedova, Patty Mills, that come to mind right off the top of my head. It's been a basketball power for a little while, but I don't think people realize just how good the talent is there.
We actually played St. Mary's my junior year. We went up there and played in that arena. They had Jock Londale. He plays for the Rockets right now. But that's their thing. Like, they go grab a couple of the best players from there about every year. They're really good for them for 4 years. And that's another thing too, man. Player development over there is really good. They do a great job of getting young guys and just having them buy in. This is not your time right now, but in 2 years, we're going to need you to win 22 games. You learn how to win. You learn what's important to their culture. And it's a great culture spot, especially in that league. They win all the time. You look up, they can lose 2 games in a row at the beginning of the year. It's like, oh, man, St. Mary's isn't good. 23 wins. It's the same way every year. So they just do a good job of developing dudes and kind of putting them in that system and culture and showing them what winning takes and what's important to them and how they get that done. They've been getting it done for 15 plus years.
Speaking of player development, which is your current role now, how do you convince guys to buy in to stay for 3-4 years? Because with the portal, I don't want to call it an easy out, but there's an easy out for a lot of players if they don't like how things are going.
First, I'll break some news. I actually just got promoted to assistant, so I'll be an assistant this upcoming year. But in the player development role, I think it's super important that you can't really look long term. You have to really focus on being better the next day. I think that's something that I preach to these guys. A lot of people want to be good right now, and that's not how it works. It's like basketball doesn't work that way. You got to play in games. All this stuff you're doing and working on, you have to be able to use it in a game. Because we all know, like, guys growing up, the workout guys. This dude works out for 4 hours in a day, and when he gets on the court, he can't do any of the things that he's worked out on, and you don't want to be labeled as that guy. So actually working on things that are translatable to games is super important. And I think being consistent, the way I approach it, I tell all of our guys, like, you can't come to me and want to work out 2 times a week, because we can't condense everything into an hour that you need to get good at. So you need to be in here 4 or 5 times a week just to see the growth. People say it takes 10,000 hours to be good at something, right? You got to put the 10,000 hours in, and you're going to be the same dude you was last year. And it's super important to have a plan and be consistent with your work. And that's not just in basketball, that's in life. It gets better the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. It don't matter what your profession is. You got to be consistent in the work that you do. And that's how you get the results you want, the results you need to be successful.
Yeah, if I could pull those first 5 podcasts down, I'd probably do that.
But that's the thing though, too, man. Like, that's the best part, the growth. That's the most fun part. Now you can go back and listen to them 5. Look what I was doing 30 podcasts ago, man. This wasn't even anything close to what I'm doing now. And I think that's the beauty in this, especially sports, man. Sports is one of the craziest life tellers because the person that you become just through experiences and your different interactions with people, you look back and you're like, man, I'm so much different than when I started. Like just for my 2 years at Utah Valley, when I started to when I finished, the amount of things I learned, the better basketball player that I became, and I didn't even know it was preparing me to be a good coach. All these things that I learned from my coaches to instill in my coaching philosophies and stuff like that, it just puts it all into perspective of how important sports are, and especially to me.
You mentioned consistency, and I think that makes what the great players great. Just because they can do the same thing over and over and over. And whether they're playing against somebody for the 50th time or for the first time, it still works.
Right. And you look at people like Tim Duncan. Man, Tim Duncan don't hit the backboard every time he shoot it. Ain't nobody stopped it in 20 years. And that's another thing too, especially with our coaching philosophy here at Utah Valley. We don't want you to do 100 things good because then you're not doing anything great. We want you to do 4 or 5 things at an elite level, and then we'll just build all the other stuff as we can go. I think that's super important. Just like I said, being consistent in your work. I can't go left. Not to say that I'm not going to work on my left, but I'm going right till somebody stop it. Somebody stop it. Now I got something to go to so I can get to my left. And I have practiced these things and I'm comfortable doing that. But somebody got to stop me from doing what I'm really, really, really good at for me to get to something different. And I think that's something that's important in basketball and all your development.
How much does analytics play in the role for what you do? Because I am not an analytics guy. I'm a big believer in wins and losses, and the eye test can oftentimes outdo what certain numbers say. But how much does analytics factor into what you do?
It's becoming more important to me because I am shifting my perspective from hooper. I was a hooper, like I played in the park. I'm going to play at 3-4 open gyms in a day, and it don't matter what percent you shoot. I just know I won 5 at this gym. I won 4 at that gym. I won 3 outside, but I lost 7. I didn't win enough. And I got to change my mindset into analytics do accumulate 2 wins. So maybe if I didn't shoot those 4 terrible pull-up jump shots, we might have won a couple more games. So it's the same thing. I'm trying to shift my perspective into analytics are important, but I do rely on the eye test more than anything. It has to look a certain way for me. And then I'll double back and see, do the analytics match what I saw? And it's like, okay, if there's a super huge disconnect, I got to reevaluate kind of the player or what we're doing. But you can't get too focused on the analytics side of it. I think I rely on, I have seen a lot of good basketball players and good basketball programs and teams. So I kind of rely on that more than the analytics. And then I double back with the analytics and see, do they match? And it might not be perfect, but if it's close, it's like, okay, I can feel good about it.
I always feel that numbers can be twisted however somebody wants, good or bad in many situations. And that's where I think the eye test comes in to say you can't refute film or you can't refute TV.
For sure. Because that's the proof in the pudding right there. That's what's getting put out on the floor. So you got to kind of roll with what you do see and kind of how things are moving on the floor. And I think that's something that's also hard for coaches, right? It's your guy, he's not playing as great as he could be. Do you roll with him? Or like analytically, it's he's 5 of 12 or 5 of 14 from the field. Do you roll with him and let him shoot 2 more? Now the analytics catch up and how to flow the game going. Do we just need a break? Do we need to sit down for a second? Regroup, get his mind right? Do we need to talk to him real quick? A lot of that stuff play into it too.
You're an assistant right now. Congratulations on the promotion, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
But in 10 years, where do you see yourself in your basketball path?
10 years, I'll be 40. Oof, that sounded crazy. Hopefully the head coach somewhere. I don't know when it will be. I want to be a head coach at the collegiate level, not necessarily Division One, not necessarily the highest level, but I will want to have said I'm a head coach by 40. It would be awesome if I could come back and be the head coach here at some point in this journey. I mean, I did everything else here. I played here. I was on support staff. I've become an assistant. To be the head coach here would be just a dream, right? Maybe it's the first or second head coaching spot that I could be in. That would be awesome. But I think the most important thing, man, in 10 years from now, I just want to have impacted, I don't even know the number, let's just say 15 teams worth of lives. I bring all this stuff back to my dad because he is a super huge influence. My dad's been coaching for 30 years. He coaches 3 teams a year: basketball, football, and baseball. The amount of lives that he has impacted and been a part of, and people can say Coach Young did this, that, and the third for me, is baffling to me. Every time I'm around him, and every time like people come up and like, man, Coach, you remember? And just these experiences and memories that he's created in players that he's coached, I want to have done that 10 times over. And just at the Division I level, at the D2 level, just at the collegiate level, having an impact on these young people, helping them through experiences, seeing them get older and have families and kids, and we can reminisce on times that we did have and lessons that they did learn. I think that's the most important thing. And that's a big reason why I do this, man, is the impact you can have on somebody's life, because it's something that connects you. Like we talked about connections. Basketball connects me with 15 people. You include coaches, support staff, all that stuff too. Like 30 people that you going on these flights and trips with every year. And it's different every year. And the interactions and the people you can meet, I just want to be a lasting good impression on people. And anytime people talk about me or speak about me, they're like, man, I had a good time with Trey. I go back to the thing with Vince, like you got to cherish this and the experiences and people you meet. You just want to leave a lasting impact and legacy when you get done. And I think that's the most important thing.
Coach Young, I want to thank you so much for coming on the I Play 2 podcast today. It was great to hear about your playing and coaching journey, playing at Utah Valley, coaching there now too as well, VCU, hearing about your stories of going to the Rose Bowl to watch your cousin play. Thank you so much and continued success. It was great to talk to you.
Rob, I appreciate you having me, man. This was super cool. It's like my first podcast too, man. So you're going to be the first. So I appreciate this. I can always say this is my first podcast ever done.